Coming up as part three of our series, kind of getting to know Dennis Hoare, getting to know Faith 401k and money management. Today's episode is all about the client. Who benefits most from the planning they do at Faith 401k? What are some of the challenges clients have when they come in? We'll get into that more with Dennis starting now. Welcome into Dollars with Dennis. I am Ben George with Dennis Hoare. He is founder and president of Faith 401k and Money Management there in Loveland, Ohio. Find everything online, 401k.faith. Dennis, this is part three of our four-part series. I want to get into the clients a little bit, kind of finish up this series with more about your planning process and the people you work with. So I'm curious, who is the ideal client you work with when they come in? How would you describe that person?
Hello, Ben. Good to see you again today. Ideal client, is there one? I'm not sure. But usually we want to get started for retirement planning at least 5 years before they're going to walk out the door of wherever they're working to do that, because we want to have some time to shape that retirement as much as we can. Don't have to start at age 20, but that helps. But 5 years before is probably an ideal time to start the process.
Okay, so about 5 to 7 years out is ideal. What are the challenges then? I know it's unique to every person, right? That's part of what you do is you find solutions that fit the needs of each person. But what are some of the common challenges you see when someone comes in to meet with you?
They don't know what they're spending. Where's my money going? That kind of thing, and getting them to reveal that is, yeah. So it's easy to build a budget, but if you can't figure out what you're spending money on, it's a challenge. And a lot of people they don't understand money. They don't understand it. So they don't want to go there. They're just uncomfortable with that. And it's what we do every day. We make it easy for them. We want to make it simple. So we break it down to the smallest segments to coach them along with that.
So when somebody comes in to meet with you, do you encourage them to kind of have that in order, or do you expect, hey, we'll kind of go through this together and kind of identify what your expenses are, where your spending is, and those sorts of things?
Yeah, so good question. I either one, but if they have more information they can bring in, that's great. But the first meeting is always going to be getting to know you, learn about where they are, where they're going, what they want to have happen. I'm going to ask tons of questions to guide them along, and then that just starts the foundation for building a retirement plan.
All right, so I know that obviously faith is a big part of what you do. It's right there in the name, right? Faith 401k and money management. What kind of relationship do you strive to build with your clients? Because I know we've talked about it a little bit in these first couple of videos, that it's a very personal relationship, but describe that a little bit more about how you focus on relationships and why that's a big part of what you do.
Yeah, so there's a lot of firms out there, and there's online stuff, all kinds of tools, but we want to learn what's important to the client. We want to know, and everybody seems to feel like their kids are important, their parents are important, whatever, but we want to find out what's important to them. And the deeper we go with that, and faith is just part of our everyday life. We're not preaching to anybody, but we are definitely using biblical principles on money. So if somebody asks me how much they should be putting in their 401k plan and they don't know, and before I figure out a plan for them, I'll just say, I think it's biblical to save 10%, give 10%, save 10%. And that seems to be a good starting place for most people.
I like that. So faith, a big part of the process. I know when people think about financial planning, Dennis, they kind of have probably their own kind of preconceived notions on what it is, what's involved. Is it easy? Is it complicated? What are the biggest misconceptions that you see about financial planning that you maybe wish more people understood when they came in to sit down with you?
Yeah, good. So most people don't think they need financial planning. It's kind of like going to the football game without a game book or playbook, So if you're going to go into retirement and you don't have a roadmap, you're not going to go on a trip without a roadmap or GPS. Today, they're all built under our cars. So we want to build that roadmap for their retirement plan, and knowing that there's going to be interruptions along the way. There's detours along the way. So we want to have re-engaged on a regular basis to be able to adjust to the roadblocks that come up along the way and stuff like that, because we all have them. But if you don't have a game plan going into retirement, that's a scary thing for sure.
Do you think most people feel that way because they don't understand what all goes into planning? I think a lot of people just kind of assume, okay, it's investing, it's saving money, but I know there's just so much more about that with taxes, estate, the change from accumulation to decumulation, the income planning. There's so many different pieces of that. Do you think that's why many people kind of underestimate the value of planning?
Probably, yeah, because there is a lot that goes into it, and we get so many tax questions, and we are not tax professionals, but everything we do revolves around taxes. But what somebody's spending, where the money's going, and how do we make it last long enough? Get the common answer for people when I ask them when they want to retire is right now, and so longevity is a huge part of planning. If you're going to retire at 60, 65 and live to 95, that's a long time to make money last. And if you don't have a good plan, you're probably not going to get there.
So planning is key. Again, you can learn more. 401k.faith is a great place to start. Learn more about what Dennis and his team do every day. There's some resources there on the website as well. So when we think about this show, Dennis, Dollars with Dennis, and episodes we're going to be putting out going forward. So please subscribe to get that information. What are you hoping people take away from these videos in each one of these episodes?
So I hope they learn something. That would be great. And I hope they get a laugh because, life is too serious. That's so usually right now the market's been good for a couple of years. And so clients are in a good mood, that kind of stuff. But a couple of years ago, they weren't so good. And my prescription is quit listening to the news, quit watching the market, and go watch a funny movie. It's going to work out. And if we have the plan in place, it will work out. So we use inflation. We plan on everything. Inflation for the hedges. How do you get there? And longevity is clear. Healthcare is a huge part of retirement planning. There's lots of things that goes into the picture, and everybody's family history is a little bit different too. So we want to learn as much as we can about the person, the individual client, but also their family and where that goes.
You've talked about it a little bit, but let's just kind of close it out. Just talking about the planning process a little bit, and we're going to dive into the planning process a little more detail in our next part of this 4-part series. But how does your practice or your planning process specifically stand out in serving your clients' unique needs?
I think because we are human beings, we do the personal touch. So one of the first things we try to do is get a survey from the client, and the survey is not about what they're looking for; it's about them. What's your favorite candy? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite music? What's your favorite color? Those kind of things. Do they have pets? Do they like, that we want to know what makes them tick and what makes them happy and what doesn't make them happy. And so that's a huge part on the very front end to incorporate in somebody's plan going forward.
I never would have expected that, Dennis, to go in to meet with a financial advisor and be asking or answering questions about your favorite candy and your favorite color and stuff. That is definitely unique. And I get it. It makes sense to why you're just trying to connect with them on a personal level and just learn more about who they are, their personality, what drives them, what interests them. And I think that's a big part of connecting, right? It probably helps break the ice.
It does, for sure. And most people are intimidated to come see a planner, talk about their money, that kind of stuff. So you gotta start somewhere, and we want to have fun with it, right?
Do you ever ask them for their favorite joke?
That's a good question. I have not. We share some, but
yeah, maybe you can get some material from them in the process. But look, this is a little bit into the clients and who works with Faith 401k. If you have any interest at all, if you think that maybe you'd be a good fit, or hey, I want to learn more about the process, learn more about planning. Why is it so important? What are some of the things that will help me get to my retirement goals that I have set for myself and that I envisioned? Go to 401k.faith, a great place to start. All the information is there as well. If you want to call, you can do that as well. It's 513-898-1897. Everything again, all the contact info will be in the show description, so check that out down below. And if you're listening to us on audio, just come over to YouTube as well. Check us out there. I think you'll enjoy the videos we have coming up, and we appreciate your support. So please subscribe to the channel as well. That's what helps us continue to grow. We appreciate that. Dennis, enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to part 4, learning more about the planning process, but thanks for sharing all this today.
Thank you, Ben. Have a great day.
You too.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.